Okay, Capricorn, you know, it's always around this time when I start getting a little bit draggy with it, a little tired. Let me see if all of my cards are like facing the right direction. They are being very retrograde, Mercury retrograde right now. See what I did? Okay, Capricorn. I have Saturn in my first house, so it kind of makes me like a Capricorn rising on that ass. I do like kind of being the one that makes the decisions, even though I'm a Libra. Oof, not that one, honey, please. I'm getting that. Okay. I'm getting that. The moon, which is like totally opposite you know what I mean? This wants to be in the other house, so this is kind of like, where's the moon right now? This is a new moon. And Libra, which is your 10th house of career, of, you know, what you've grown into, maturity, that type of thing, how you've established yourself in the world. And this is saying like, right now you might be feeling kind of like you're going through a period of emotional growth. Right? And it's kind of like you want to escape, break free of something. Yeah? You wish you didn't feel this way? Don't let what or who you can't control set, you know, your emotion for you. You know, this is being aware of how your emotions are meant to teach you something for your own well-being and your own growth. These are being aware of your emotional patterns or what triggers you emotionally. What are you thinking about a lot that is making you feel this way? And how can you distract yourself from the very thing that is distracting you? You know? Capricorn, you are not feeling good about leaving something behind. You're not feeling very good about the change. You feel like you didn't have enough time, or you don't have enough time to prepare for something. And you could be feeling vulnerable because of the pressure to kind of like rush through something, like that type of thing. Yeah. The Wheel of Fortune. Okay, Capricorn. So you kind of like don't really like to rush because you don't want to make any mistakes, but it's saying like you might just have to kind of like suck it up and go, you know? So the Wheel of Fortune is talking about travel as well, right? The Judgment card. It's like suck it up and go. And it also talks about atoning for something, balancing something, weighing something out. You know, it's growth, it's freedom, it's understanding. It's the freedom that comes from understanding, and then the growth that follows, right? And it is also putting something behind you. The Judgment says that the darkness is behind you and the worst is behind you as well. It's Pluto. You know, you've gone through something and you're almost done, right? You are just still kind of like looking back or still attached to whatever it is that you couldn't control or you couldn't fix, you know, or something that you couldn't make happen, right? It was kind of like out of your control, whatever this thing was. You know, it was like you were kind of like forced to make this decision or forced to do this thing, you know. Yeah. Right? And realizing what you were sacrificing or what you were, you know, what were you sacrificing and what were you giving, you know, what were you sacrificing? This is a card of survival too. The moon is also a card of survival. And the Wheel of Fortune is one of survival just because it's a 10 related to Capricorn, that 10th house. And it's also talking about, like, it reduces to a 1, which talks about the, you know, the power of potential and how you realize your potential in order to have a strong sense of survival. You know what I mean? So it's like, do you believe in what you see? Right? And that's what the Judgment card talks about. If you don't believe your eyes, then, you know, what are you not admitting to yourself? The Moon. 9 of Pentacles, developments, growth, progressions. You know, you have a need to grow. There is a necessity to grow, you know, that, right? To change. You have to change in order to grow. 5 of Wands. You know what I mean? This is kind of like, this is Saturn in Leo, and it's Saturn being debilitated in Leo because Saturn is teaching and showing and making an example, right? So you feel like life is making an example of you right now in the current situation that you are in. Or life is giving you an example of something. You are like an avatar, right? And life is making an example out of you through, you know, teaching you a lesson of self-actualization, a lesson of survival, transformation, a lesson of change in consciousness, a lesson in healthy ego and healthy narcissism, you know, that type of thing. It's knowing your worth and not competing with those that aren't on the same level as you in some kind of way. Or you don't have to compete, you know? And this is speaking up for yourself, learning how to speak up for yourself, right? And that is self-reliance. Don't rely on someone else to speak for you, because they're going to speak for themselves and they're going to act for themselves. So sometimes you have to speak, think, act, do for yourself, right? And it doesn't have to involve like hurting other people or disrespecting anyone or anything like that. Never. It never has to, right? Don't waste your time dealing with the drama of other people. Don't waste your time trying to teach people lessons that they can only learn from themselves. Learn your lessons. You know what I mean? Know what you know and act accordingly. Don't get stuck or held back trying to teach people lessons that they have yet to learn for themselves. I said it again. Retrograde repeat. Was that a good boomerang? All right, let's see what this last card is. Doing the same thing again. I told it, don't show me. I said, do not show me that card. The Tower, changing something, leaving it behind you. So something is changing. Work, you're taking a risk. You know what I mean? You're having to jump ship. You're having to leave something behind. You're having to cut some ties, relationships. You know, you have a responsibility to do something that you probably didn't want to do or that you were waiting to do. You know what I mean? You better get voting, right? You better do those things that you know that you need to do, that you're feeling pressure to do, right? That's what the Tower is doing. It's pressuring you to do something that you know you need to do, you know? The Tower is also an act of passion or a moment of passion. So, you know, someone could have had a sort of like blow up in the way that they were relating to something and how they were communicating or what their actions were communicating is that they were being passive aggressive, right? So sometimes the Tower could be aggression or it could be passive aggression because it's, you know, number 16, which reduces to a 7, which is the Chariot, which is emotions. And then number 7 is also the 7th house of Libra, which is like ideas and principles that don't necessarily align. So it's kind of like maybe not making a decision because you weren't able to get what you want from, you know, or the opportunity for you to get what you want led you to not make a decision So now the decision is being made for you, but the decision that's being made for you may not even involve any of the other options or choices that you had before. You're getting the consequences of not making the decision. You know what I mean? Jump on it. Right. Que sera, sera. Okay. All right, y'all. So I will talk to you soon. Like, share, subscribe, comment on the video if you're watching on Instagram. Follow, like. My personal account is NYC Kendrick. And if you'd like a reading from me, email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. Okay?